Right guys, just a quick video here. Hopefully it will help somebody out who's had the same problem with me. The vehicle is a Peugeot 207 110 HDI GT. I'm sure the problem will be the same regardless of the model, as long as you've got the dual zone climate control like this. Basically the issue that I was having was the heater was lighting up, the panel was lighting up, showing that all the functions were working. However, I wasn't getting any air blowing out the heaters whatsoever. I've heard people having the same issue, but it only blowing on full power on number 4. That wasn't the case for me. It was blowing, nothing was coming out regardless of what setting it was on. I could hear the relays clicking, I could hear other things going on, heater vents opening and closing, but just no air whatsoever. So basically, long and short of it, there's two possible faults from what I've read up, and it was either the speed controller on the fan itself, on the actual heater blower itself, which is also referred to, it's got a nickname of a hedgehog, I believe. It looks like a U-shaped piece of metal with, or a semicircle with spikes on it, hence the nickname. And the other issue was the heater resistor. So that's this part here. Probably seen it on eBay if you've got the same fault and you've been looking around. But obviously there's a lot of conflicting information on which part it was going to be, which fault it was going to be, etc. And the reason I'm making this video is because there wasn't a lot of information regarding the 207. All I could find was information on either the Peugeot 307 or the 206, which all had totally different locations for the parts, and yeah, it wasn't a great deal of help. Especially since most of them had different controls in them, or they didn't have the dual zone climate control, or they had the old standard 3 switches, so it wasn't a great help. And even on eBay, sellers and things like that were selling these parts, they weren't overly helpful in the information they were given in the listings, because they were aiming it more at the 307 and things like that, and 207 would just be in the title. Again, not sure if it was going to be the right part, and so not a lot of information out there to help you make a decision if you're not overly mechanically minded and you haven't got all year to sit around trying to figure out the issue. So either way, rung up Euro car parts, rung up Peugeot, rung a few other places around, get prices and what have you. This part here turns out to be, I think at Euro car parts, about 45 quid with a VAT. GSF car parts, about 50 quid with a VAT. I got it from them just because I had it in stock that day. But yeah, this turned out to be the issue anyway. So what it is it's not an overly bad job to do. All in all, probably I'd say 45 minutes if you are handy with tools on. So you don't have to be a mechanic, it's not an overly difficult job, it's just fiddly. That's where the time consumption comes from. But all you need to do is take the glove box out, and the part is sort of pretty viewable. It's just in a bit of a difficult place to get when you're trying to get your head under the dashboard. So I'll start with the basics. The glove box is going to need to be removed. So when the glove box is in place and you open it up, you're going to have a few screws. As you can see, the yellow brackets down there, when this is all lined up, those screws you're going to have to undo. You're going to have a couple of screws up inside the actual glove box itself, 2 of them up there. Again, all the screws on this vehicle that I've come across doing this job have been a Torx T20. So all of the screws have been the same. The only 2 tools that I've used doing this is a Torx T20, a flat blade screwdriver just for a use as a pry bar, and a floodlight. That's all I've needed. But as I say, undo those 4 screws that are inside the glove box that you get from inside. The top section here is clipped in, so even when you've got all the screws out, it's still going to feel like it's held in. Along this section here there are clips, so you'll unclip them, they'll all fit into these holes along the top, and as you can see, they're standard metal clips. So on the bottom of the glove box you're also going to have 3 more, one there, and one there. Those ones you get to from underneath the glove box with the glove box hatch shut. As you can see there, with the glove box in my lap, there's going to be one roughly here, one through that hole, and one through that hole there. So undo the bottom ones first, undo the ones inside first. It don't really make any difference, just make sure they're all undone before you try pulling it out. Once you've got the screws undone, you're going to have a couple of small hiccups to deal with. One is going to be that inside the glove box right there on the left hand side by the fuse panel is your OBD port. So this is going to be there. Obviously you don't want to damage that. It's a very tight fit. There's clips on the side here. Use a small flat blade screwdriver, push them in, but it is a real tight squeeze, so just be careful you don't damage your OBD port. On the other side of the glove box, you're going to have a clip. When you've manoeuvred the glove box out, you'll see it on the side of it. Here on the side, you're going to have the light, so you're going to have a clip going into there, and then you're going to have the airbag. That can't come out because obviously it's going to, if you try and pull it out of the glove box, it's got to come forward towards you, and that isn't going to help you because the wire's still going to be attached to the back. So you're going to have to pry open these two pieces here gently, obviously so you don't damage it, but lift them up so you can slide the plastic tab out the back. Here's what it's going to look like. So when you lift them two little plastic tabs, those little sort of diamond shaped pieces, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be able to slide out. It has got a circuitry on it with a little push to make switch, which is obviously for the airbag sort of switch. So obviously be very careful that you don't end up damaging that, because I wouldn't want to try and have to replace that at a later date or turn your airbag lights on, etc. So just be careful. The one for your glove box light is just a standard push clip. So just again, flat blade screwdriver, give it a little push and gently pull it out. Once you've got all that out of the way, you're going to end up with something looking roughly like this. You will have a panel in the way, which is there. I'll show you the panel. So you're going to have a panel sitting roughly there that's going to cover this lot. So again, grab the back end of it, pull it. It is just on clips. There's a couple of clips and then it hooks into the side of the panel there. So just pull that one out of the way. There's no screws in it. Once you've done that, you'll be able to see the whole in sort of side of your heater and all the other workings down there. Your culprit, this little guy, problem causer, is located up there. You can see the green tabs coming out the back of it. That's it. So as you're looking at it, you can just about see the green through there in the center of the screen. So to get to that, you've got a bit of foam up the top here. Pull that out of the way and you can get to the clips. You can see the green clips. Sorry, it's a bad camera angle, but you can see the green clips. There's two of them, green plugs. Undo them and pull them out. You have to pull them out before you remove it, because you won't get it out otherwise, because it's such a tight fit. From the underneath, you'll see just there, you can see a silver screw in the middle of the screen. You need to undo that. There is possibly one on the other side. I was lucky on mine, there wasn't one, so it made it a little bit easier, as the top one's going to be more difficult to get to. But yeah, two T20 Torx screws, possibly one if you're lucky like me. So undo them, and then that whole cartridge slides down, and pull it down towards you as you slide it out. As I say, the plugs have got to be removed first, or else it won't fit. But once that's out, put the new one back in, screw it back up, and that should solve your problem, as it did for me. Like I said, I had no heater whatsoever. I've plugged it in now, let the car warm up, and as you can hear, it's now all working. So I've now got my heaters back. They're all working as they should. So happy days. And then obviously repeat the process in reverse. Refit the screws. So make sure you plug it back in, screw it back in, and then refit your glove box. Like I say, all in all, probably take you about 40 minutes if you know your way around a screwdriver. Not an overly difficult job, but hopefully this will help somebody. Like I said, no information out there for the 207, only for the 307 and the 206, which are different. So hopefully it helps. Take care.